dark horse Super Bowl teams for the NFL. We both got 3 of them for you. Adam, hit me with your third dark horse team.
Absolutely. At number 3, give me the Las Vegas Raiders, man. And the reason I say that is because the offense, we've seen how this team can perform at their peak. And they're not going to be, and this is why they're at my third spot, they're not going to be that super threatening team that a lot of people, or even a little bit of people, are going to look out for per se. But, we've seen Derek Carr, we've seen Darren Waller, and this team has been through so much between Henry Ruggs, Damon Arnett, John Gruden, the noise and overall, the chemistry of this team is, so the noise is kind of escalating, but the chemistry of this team, you start to wonder, is it going to be sustainable over the course of the season? Now, with the Raiders establishing their position in the division, and yes, I know they just lost to the Giants, and they've had some streaky games back and forth, but we are talking about dark horse Super Bowl teams. It was kind of tough to pick a third one for this list, but when I started to dig into it, Las Vegas Raiders at number 3 for a real dark horse Super Bowl team. No question.
Okay, I'm going to give you the super dark horse team that's never, ever won a Super Bowl before. I'm going to give you the Cincinnati Bengals as my third place dark horse Super Bowl team. The Cincinnati Bengals have shown that they can play with anybody in the league. They have the tools. They may have been figured out with them being extremely Jamar Chase heavy, but we've also seen them be in dogfights with the best teams in the NFL. So, if they're able to just reach within themselves and actually find that same team that came through and showed up like that week in and week out, if they can sneak into the playoffs, Cincinnati is not a team that you're actually going to want to see. They have nothing to lose. They're going to go out there and just play balls to the walls, no expectations, everything, put it on the table.
Yep.
So who you got at the 2 spot?
Number 2 is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, and Russell Wilson is finally coming back. We know that they have a wide receiving core. We know that the offense can really get going when it's on its best day. And I know the defense, I know a lot of people are going to say, what about the defense, Adam? What about what are they going to do if it potentially comes to a shootout? I trust this team a little bit to win some of these shootouts that they could potentially get in. And I know the defense, again, like we just brought up, that could be the Achilles heel of them. But I think when you're talking about Russell Wilson coming back from injury, this team feels like they're in the dumps right now. Like, no one is talking about Seattle right now, and they might be one of the most loaded teams talent-wise that's sitting at a 3-5 record, that's sitting down there in their division. And a lot of people, again, have forgot about the Seattle Seahawks because there's no Russell Wilson. You got Geno Smith running the show. Some people are curious about Pete Carroll season in and season out. We talked about that a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can truly ignore all that talent that's sitting on a 3-5 Seattle team. They're about to get their best player. They're about to get their captain, their king, back underneath center. So I think the Seattle Seahawks could be a team to keep your eye on later on in the year.
I totally disagree with that. I'm going to take.
I could tell.
I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders as my number 2 dark horse team for all the reasons that you said. I mean, with the departure of John Gruden, with the whole Henry Ruggs saga, they have nowhere to go but up from here, and they are still sitting at 5-3, second place in the AFC West. If they can sneak into the playoffs, this could be a sneaky good team. They've got a lot to prove, a huge chip on their shoulder, new head coach. Like, I think the Raiders they're a dark horse for real. You don't really want to see them. Who you got as your number 1 dark horse football team?
I'm going to clap it up for my boy Triple F. It's going to be the New England Patriots because I really trust Bill Belichick. I really trust that defense, and Mac Jones is continuing to improve week in and week out. Look, if the Patriots can make some sort of move, claim a guy off waivers, go grab an OBJ like you said, like I was shocked when you told me, Fees, they are 10th overall in offensive points per game. They're 4th overall in defensive points per game. So we're looking at another balanced team in the AFC, and yeah, their division is a little, well, it's really the Bills, the Patriots, and then everybody else in the division. We're not talking about the Dolphins. We're not talking about the Jets. And at the end of the day, when we talk about a team that's been there before with the chemistry, that's been there before with the culture. Bill Belichick, of course, is having a lot to do with this team. The defense is continuing to click. And if the offense, even though they are 10th overall in points per game, as a diehard fan, there's room for improvement. That Mac Jones is continuing to take steps. And who knows? We sat there on the NFL draft show. We saw your reaction. I was shocked when Mac Jones got drafted. Is this the next guy for New England? I mean, let's seriously ask that question. Is Bill Belichick actually going to hand Mac Jones the keys to Foxborough for the next 12 to 15 years? That's not out of the question for me. We're talking about coaching that I trust later in the year. If we're talking about culture and defense that's really going to step up in a big spot, the offense can move along. They can get along as long as Bill and the defense are going to be the cornerstone of that team. So I got to keep my eye on the New England Patriots right now.
How about that? We agree on 2 out of 3 because, I got New England as my top dark horse team, sitting at 5-4, second place in the AFC East. They got 2 games left against the Buffalo Bills. They're still not out of it to actually win the division. The defense is playing great football, just like we talked about, 4th in points allowed. It's very surprising that they're 10th in points scored, seeing as how stagnant the offense has looked in many games so far this season. But as Mac starts to progress, if they open the offense up and Mac Jones actually starts really putting points on the board, it's hard to score against them. So, I mean, they have a puncher's chance. So definitely as a dark horse, that's the number one sitting out there.